Hey everybody, it's Bruno on MB where it all can't be serious. And I got my friend Tirzah. Tirzah, welcome back for repeat offender episode number 2. How have you been doing?
Oh, really well. Lots and lots has changed since we last talked. So it's kind of why we're doing this, because it's a completely different world a few months after our last episode. So
Well, you know what? Let's trade ideas. No pun intended on bartering, but our caption, what do you call it? A thumbnail says "Supersize your bartering." So I guess that's what's the number one thing that we can supersize our bartering?
primarily I work with businesses to help them barter. So ultimately I find kind of the hole where they maybe aren't already booking clients. So for a
Mhm.
massage therapist example, if she wants 10 clients a week, she's only getting 8, then I can kind of help her fill in the gaps with barter. So it's not about taking away from the cash paying clients, but really optimizing the time for service providers. And also there's an aspect that is amazing for product type businesses as well. So just really working hand in hand with optimizing the time, honestly, because time expires.
Yeah, there's a couple of bartering apps and bartering concepts. In talking to you now, exciting news. Talk about BarterPay.
Yeah, well, how far do you want me to go back? So last time you and I talked, I still had my own company, Zwapify, that I had built and launched August of
Hmm.
last year. And then I believe we recorded in October. So in November, I had John Porter, the founder of BarterPay, approach me, just like literally slid into my DMs, saw what I was doing with Zwapify, and was like, "Hey, do you want to talk about collaborating?" So we talked for a couple of months just to make sure that we were a good fit. I wanted to work with his business, and he owns one of and founded one of the largest bartering companies across Canada. So he's got several thousand businesses within his network that
Wow,
all barter together. So it's pretty phenomenal. So that's the very short version of what has
it's
happened in
great.
the last few months. But yeah.
And the reason why I bring that up is just to, sorry, I'm fixing my microphone, technical difficulties, but we're good. Maybe I can barter this mic away. But and the reason why I started saying that I backed up because our viewers don't really know that you enhance your, I guess, your offering. So now with BarterPay, I think the big difference there is a lot of the apps go out there, or the bartering systems, because bartering was there way before apps. That's for sure. If I was a vendor, and let's say I sold microphones that weren't adjusted properly, and I wanted to barter with you, I'd have to figure out, like, you do cupcakes or something, right? I know you do the cupcakes, but I don't want cupcakes. So then I'd have to find another vendor and hope they want unadjustable microphones in exchange for haircuts or therapy or whatever. So tell us how that works. That's changed in your kind of overall supersizing.
Yeah, exactly. So what you're describing is called one-to-one bartering, and that's actually how I set up my business. Basically, you would scroll through, find a microphone, and then you'd have to offer what you had in exchange. And very quickly, I was realizing people weren't finding as many connections as they'd wanted because of what you just said. Like, well, I don't want your cupcakes, so then you don't have a deal. And it's actually called the coincidence of wants. So 2 months after my app launched, I was like, I'm going to have to fix something. I'm going to have to change
Mm-hmm.
something. And that's when John came into my life and showed me his system. And so the way he's worked around that awkwardness of the coincidence of wants is he created a barter credit. So one barter credit is equivalent to $1 Canadian for valuation purposes. So essentially, you could sell your microphone into the system. Anyone that decides to purchase it with their barter credits, you then bank those barter credits and turn around and can spend them with anyone else in the system. So rather than a
Wow.
one-to-one bartering, it's one-to-many. So he has done a phenomenal job. He's been in the bartering space for 27 years, so he's really worked out the kinks and found what works really well. And to date, they have done over 500 million in transactions, like barter credit transactions. So
How much?
it's working over 500 million.
Oh, in BarterPay. What are they trading
Yeah.
planes?
Well, some of the deals, like they're doing the biggest deal to date is 500,000, and they're doing it with PV Mart in Red Deer. And they have deals that large and all the way down to, 5 barter credits at a time. So there's a wide variety.
That's crazy good. Let's talk about something you said, coincidence of wants, right?
Hmm.
You just kind of glazed over it because this is your area of expertise with BarterPay. What exactly does that mean? I think we can speculate, but it sounds like you're a deeper understander of that. Is that a word? Okay.
Yeah, that works. We can call it a word. Basically, what that means is it is truly a coincidence if you can come across two people that have the same, like something that the other one wants at the same time and the same value.
Got it.
And it does happen. And that's, what happened in the old days. And we've been bartering for centuries. The neighbor has farm eggs and you have vegetables. Sure, we can trade. But what happens when they don't want your vegetables and you don't want their farm eggs, or the price difference? I have eggs, but you have a cow. Well, there's the price difference. You can't really connect with that. And I've done some very awkward trades in my time where a lady was, for some reason, I don't know why, but willing to trade me a tattoo that cost $600 for baking. And I still owe her like a couple $100 worth of baking. It's going to take me months to pay it off. And so I made it work and she made it work. She likes my baking, I guess, but at the same time, that's a pretty inconvenient trade. So it's purely coincidence. And essentially, I was building my company on coincidence, and it was not going to scale if I had left it the way it was. So I decided, you know what, he's already worked out the kinks. He's done the things and is a couple decades ahead of me. Why wouldn't I want to be on board with him and help him expand in Alberta? So,
you know what? I'm kind of worried to take a look at that tattoo artist after she ate all your cupcakes, but $600 worth of cupcakes, like that's a lot of calories. And by the way, you said, what if somebody doesn't want my cupcakes? That's an impossibility, number one. Number two, you supplied us with cupcakes at one of our last events, the Power Network Group, and ran out. So that's a good sign. So if you guys want to barter that up. So how do you get started with BarterPay?
Yeah, so as much as the company is very tech-based, they also have a very human approach. So any business that comes on, becomes a member of BarterPay, is paired with a barter coach. So my title is a barter coach. So rather than just like, hey, I want to barter, here's a website, hop on and see what you can do. Every business has a barter coach that they work with, and we max out at about 200 businesses per barter coach. And then we have to essentially bring on someone else to help us work with those businesses. So the reason for that is you're a business owner. Like most of these people watching this are probably going to be business owners or entrepreneurs, and they know how busy they are. So even if they love the idea of bartering, they don't have time to actually put the effort in that it would take to have successful transactions happen. So my job is kind of a two-part job. Essentially, I, number one, bring you new business, and then number two, help you spend those barter credits. So what that looks like is, say, a massage therapist. I just signed one up a few weeks ago in High River. So I bring her new customers, and she's going to bank barter credits. And then she's going to tell me, hey, you know what? I really want a housekeeper. So I'm going to go find her a housekeeper that is in the area, that's the right price, all of that, and connect them. So very little work has to be done by the business owner. And even to the degree of, I have some members that they're like, I don't want anything to do with the back end of it. Like, do everything for me. And I can do that. And others want to be more involved. So as far as getting started, it's not just go sign up on the website and join. It's actually, you have to work through a barter coach, which is phenomenal because it's kind of like a way that we can make sure we're getting really great people on board, because you are having to go through another human to become a member, essentially. Well,
you're kind of becoming the barter community, right? And I will tell you, I looked at your, not just your barter, we get hit on a lot of the stuff. And the fact that you guys have barter coaches, like this is brand new to me. I knew you were going to help people. I didn't really understand that. It is really a game changer, because I don't want to spend there. It's kind of like having, not to promote any other sites on your show, but think of any app. Like if you're looking for a job, it's very intimidating to go through millions of resumes on different platforms. I'm going to plug my friend Stephen Wensley and joboffer.com. Yeah, there's AI and everything like that, but wouldn't it be great if you had a job coach? I know that's almost impossible, but walking through and you're going to go match my services with somebody that I might need, or that's amazing. How long has BarterPay been in business?
So they rebranded in 2018 to BarterPay. Prior to that, they were under a different name, but the company's been around for, John's been doing Barter since 1997 or something.
Wow.
And I believe the company has been around since the 2000, like early 2000s. So a long time. Yeah.
Is there a limit to when you can use the barter points?
No, they never expire. You're not locked in at all. If you want to try, I always waive the monthly fee. It's a $25 monthly fee. I always waive that for 6 months to make sure, it's basically my probation time, to make sure that I am going to work well with your business, to bring you new business and to help you get value from the services you've offered or the products that you've offered up. So you can try it for free, 6 months essentially. And yeah, that's how it works.
Well, I'm excited. I know that our network is super excited. I know that we're trying to always find funky ways to get you on here, because I think it truly can be and is a game changer for a lot of people. What does that mean tax wise? Can we touch on that at all? Like, so let's just say that if I understand it properly, I will exchange my microphone and get $1, but I don't spend it till next year. Do I have to claim that as income?
Yeah, so the barter credits are actually recognized by the CRA as equivalent to a Canadian dollar. And the reason that they had to do it that way, and the reason for the barter credits, is it's actually illegal to barter in Canada. And so it's very frowned upon because, the government likes their cut. And so you can claim the barter credits as another revenue stream. And so for most businesses, it kind of balances itself out. So I'm bringing in barter credits, but I'm also spending them for my business, sometimes personally, and it's essentially another revenue stream. Obviously, we have some businesses that choose not to put it on their books, but that's their business. We don't handle their books, right?
Okay, so at the end of the year, you give a summary or something like that on how many barter credits you have that year and that month and that.
Yeah, we have monthly statements that come out at the beginning of the month, essentially the same as a bank account. Wow. And you can put those at any time, and you get the total at the end of the year, all of that.
That's insane. That's great. Here's what I'm going to tell you. We did rapid fire last time. Did you change any of your answers since I met you last? We're not going to go through that exercise, but everybody wants to get to know you. You're really awesome to work with, and we support you guys all the way. We're going to play a little game, right? So people get to know you maybe a little bit better, kind of thing. But now question number 1, ready?
Okay.
If you were to change, you had the power to change one thing in the world, what would it be?
That people couldn't lie.
Oh, I like that. Okay, let's push on it. What's a lie?
Well,
like, is it like the little lies, like your hair looks great, but it doesn't really look great, but by the way, it does look great? You know what I mean?
I feel like it's such a fine line, because if you say that's fine, well, then how far can you go? And everyone's definition of that is different, I guess. But my biggest thing is just be honest with me. Like, if you don't like me or whatever, you don't want to do business, like whatever it is, personal or business wise, just be honest. So that's the first thing that popped in my head. Okay.
So that's really good. I didn't see that coming. If you had a chance to help choose, I guess, one cause, right? What would it be? You don't have to say the association or anything like that, but what's one cause that's really near and dear to your heart?
100% homelessness. I really struggle seeing people that are in that space. I don't know why. I don't know why it bothers me so much. I was never homeless. My parents were never homeless, but when I see a homeless person, like I literally could just start crying, and I'll buy them a coffee or a meal or whatever I can do. And then I drive away and I feel so sad because it feels like so little. Like, great, I got them a coffee and warmed up their hands for 5 minutes, but I didn't help it change the trajectory of their life. So I have huge plans in my future for being able to help homeless people in a big way.
I know you're super, super, super close to your little guys, and for I guess young parents, older parents. Let's stick to younger kids' parents because that's your area of expertise for the next couple of years. Advice to the parents regarding their kids. One piece.
Okay, so I feel like I'm failing at this because I'm also trying to like grow a business and be a full-time mom, and the boys are home full-time anyway. But one thing that my dad did a couple of times, and it literally has stuck with me for the rest of my life, and I did it last night, is he always thought, we got to do this big trip or we have to, really put a bunch of time in to have time together. But what I remember is when he would come home from work and lay on the trampoline, and we would just bounce around him and have so much fun. And he did that a handful of times. And that's what sticks out, not the big day trips or a trip to Canmore or whatever. That's what sticks out. And so last night I'd been gone all day, well, for a day and a half. And I came home and laid on the trampoline with the boys, and they had the best time. And I did too. And it was so much fun. And so I'm really trying to implement that more. Here comes
You can put them on. You can put them on tape.
Come here, but come here quick. Speaking of it,
the little Timbit devil right there. So speaking of kids, that's my next question. Is we learn a lot from children. What's the number one piece of advice you picked up since you become a mom from your kids?
Because, he's turning 3 on Sunday, and then my other one is 5. They're not really at the stage where they can say advice, but I guess what I've learned by observation is how much the little things make them happy. Especially this one, Sawyer, he's so smiley and so happy all the time. And it's over the silliest little things. Like there's a bee, all this stuff. And so it just really helps you really remember what is actually important and just really enjoy the little things in life, because kids are so happy generally. And I think that's why they just really focus on being present and little things that are joyful in their lives. So
that's you learn a lot from the little guys when you turn off the phone. You get to ask me a question again, whatever that is.
I remember what I asked you last time, and it was a really good one.
Or you can bank it and get a Bruno buck and just joking.
I think I've got one. What is your advice for someone that is becoming extremely busy with work, but also wanting to still have time with kids? How do you create balance? But I also know that there's no such thing as balance, because it's like you have to give all to your kids. You have to give all to your business. You have to give all to your spouse. And at the moment, I'm in a transition of being extremely busy with business. And I guess my biggest struggle right now is how do I shut off at the end of the day and actually focus on my family without it consuming your mind, I guess.
Thank you for asking that question. I have to refer back to 2 people that helped me out with that. Well, my parents too, but they were go immigrant parents. Here's what I learned, and I can actually prove it. I'm not going to show you the whole thing. Oh, I can't get it because the camera's in the way. But I have a book that my professional coach years ago in 2004 got me forcefully to write down certain things that were actually super, super, super important. Fancy thing, 20 years later, it's exactly the same thing, right? When we're going warp speed, the other person that I mentioned is my friend Bruno Picconi, and I interviewed him a couple months ago. He's on one of my shows, and I think between both of them, they reinforce that there's no such thing as balance. So balance is a perfect, and we do this in our training. You took some training from us. So it's like, this is perfect balance. That'll never happen. You just kind of have to understand the fulcrum moves sometimes, and you're kind of like this, right? So being aware, number one, is there really is no balance, especially these days. The phone's on all the time, right? So I think number one, be aware that there is no balance ever. And number two, refer back to, I call it your personal Bible. And I wrote things down, and no matter what it is, you say this is important, so you have to work it out. And very, 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 very close second is you can't have lifestyle without earning money, providing for your family. So I struggle with people kind of saying, hey, I need a personal day today. Meanwhile, the company hasn't sold anything. And we're like, okay. That's the kind of stuff that I say, number one, awareness, there is no balance. Number two, what is truly, truly true. If you don't write it down, it's not important to you. And number three, really close, is that as a parent, your number one concern is to provide. That's it. Everything else doesn't matter if you can't provide. You're mentioning homeless people. I'm like, yeah, I mean, we want that. So that's kind of the best piece of advice that was given to me, right? So what do you think, Sawyer? What are you thinking? The kid has no problem hair like that, I'll tell you that. So, but Tirzah, I wish you all the best. You know that we are big fans of yours and your product and your service. So we look forward to even more promoting you, and we really thank you for coming in the second time, repeat offender. So thank you very, very, very much.
Well, thank you for the opportunity, because when I watched our last video, I was like, oh my goodness, it's so out of date and so much has changed in a few months, which is unbelievable. So thank you for letting me.
It's a good thing. It's called growing. It's awesome. So, okay, so we'll catch up later. Bye, Sawyer.
You see, bye.
All right, we'll see you guys next time.